For thousands of years, farming has shaped the landscape of Wales. Generations of farmers have worked the land, and in Snowdonia, one family has been farming the slopes of the Carneddau Mountains for centuries. Meet the Joneses.
There's 350 years my family can say that we've farmed this valley.
Gareth Wyn Jones is the latest in a long line of hill farmers to rear sheep on the mountains near Llanfairfechan on the North Wales coast. But the way we buy our food has changed.
Lots of people have lost contact with the land, with agriculture, with farmers.
Gareth's wife Rhian takes care of the family, their home and the garden.
Picking peas, oh, there is nothing better than eating peas fresh from the pod.
Their sons, Roland and his elder brother Sior, are following in their father's footsteps.
Yeah. Hey, stand. These sheep get my nerves.
And their daughter Mary isn't far behind.
Sit. Aline, sit. Aline, right.
Their grandparents also live on the farm. Gareth's mother Eryl and his father, Roland Senior.
Mae'n glas soen hwn. Gewch chi'n mynd fel un bob dydd.
We will follow Gareth and his family through the course of a year as they take their animals from the mountainside to the marketplace.
That's it, that's the end product. After all that hard work, this is what we sell.
But with bad weather and rising costs, what does the future hold for the traditional Welsh hill farm?
Physically, mentally, emotionally it's tough, but the truth is, if you're born and bred into it, you know nothing better. That's the way it is. That's the way of the mountains.
It's spring in the Carneddau Mountains. At Tîn Llwyfan, the Jones family farm, the sun is up. It's the weekend, but there is a lot of work to be done. The coming weeks are vital for the farm. It is one of the busiest times of year, and the sheep need to be taken onto the mountain pastures for the first time. There is a full day's work ahead, but today Gareth won't be working alone.
I got 10 dogs at the moment. These are the three main working ones, which is Cap and Tess here, my old bitch, and Lad, the very, very good youngish dog. Then these are younger dogs, and this is Bill, this is Sean's first dog, and he's doing well. Both don't listen sometimes, which can be a bit difficult. At the end of the day, you know, we can't do without these. These are, you know, an integral part of our life. I spend more time with these dogs than I do with my wife, which is an awful thing to say, but it's true. And I do absolutely love them.
Roland and Sior will also be joining their father as he ventures up the mountain. Having spent the winter on lower pastures, the farm sheep now need to be turned out onto the communal grazing land of the Carneddau.
We get the dogs out now, and then we'll get up onto the frith and get these ewe lambs onto the top. Come on, Sean!
As they reach the flock, the weather begins to close in. Conditions on these slopes can change in an instant. But as they are already nearly a month behind, Gareth needs to push on, despite the wind and the rain.
This is what it's like. You know, you can never depend on the weather. Give up! Yeah. But what's important, they're going up strong. We can just about keep up with them. That really makes me feel good. This is the whole idea of, you know, proper hefting, old-fashioned hefting.
Gareth and the boys are guiding the sheep up to the heft. The heft, or cynefin in Welsh, is a patch of grazing land that the family's flock has returned to year after year. It's the foundation of the hill farm, and so far they are going up well. These sheep are a hardy Welsh mountain breed, born and bred for these slopes and these harsh conditions.
Yes! Here, good boys, good boys. Hey, good boys. Show me the lads, so dive in iddyn nhw. Give up. A dive in iddyn ni bit. Give up, good boys. It's tough going, really. Majority of people are sitting in front of the telly watching Andrew Marr, or kids are playing on their PlayStations. I'll be coming up every day doing this until they're up there and stay there. This is what it takes to produce food up here. Getting too old for this, mate. Really getting too old for it.
With thousands of sheep to bring onto the mountain, this will be the first of many trips for Gareth. He has to teach the sheep to stay on their heft by walking them there each day. This was a way of farming that he was taught by his father, and something he must pass on to his sons. Once here, this is where the sheep will graze and fatten up for the rest of the year.
Whew. It's nice to see him up here, I'll tell you that much. Really nice to see him up here. 21 days late, but hey, they're here. So that's what's important, really. Right, are we ready, boys? Come on then, let's home, James. See your mother. Give up! No!
Are you wet? Yes. That's a silly question.
What do you think, woman?
The food has been roasted. Right then, I'll heat up the gravy. Thank you. And then... Dad. The little beef is probably cold. Huh?
Oh, absolutely lovely. Sorry.
Yorkshire pudding. Sorry, the potatoes, I've tried to keep them as long as possible, but then they're...
Mamma, Andy.
I know.
Really nice.
Mam, just ti'n edrych Yorkshire pudding?
O. Yn neis?
Good for you.
Yndi?
Left ar ysgol.
Well, ar ysgol.
Ar ysgol, mwyn i'n ôl mei.
Dad, I know.
It's May, and now this year's lambs need to be turned out onto the mountain pastures. But first they need to be rounded up and given a special mark to identify them as Gareth's property.
We're bringing these in now, and we're going to earmark the lambs and get them ready for the mountain. That's the job today.
Gareth needs to separate the lambs from their mothers. It's a chance to get a closer look at this year's stock.
You know, it's a labour of 12 months to have that lamb. And this is the important piece that you've got at the end of the day. The little boys will be the ones that will be sold for eating and slaughter, and the girls will be kept for breeding, so it's really important for us to watch after them this year.
Gareth, look dar gen ti.
Dim fi yma, man di.
A'n fi.
Dim bos erych di.
Yn ti blaen landro fo'r de, siarad.
I know, lo, anta.
I know.
Na fanw.
Best lambs I've seen for years. I'm not for boasting, but they are very, very good. My brothers here can vouch for that.
The females now are having this earmark. The males have a different earmark. And then a vanw is a female and a guru is a male. So when you hear them shouting guru and vanw, it's male and female in Welsh.
There are over 500 lambs to mark today, so members of the extended family have come along to lend a hand.
This is my Uncle Will. That's Owen John. This is my Uncle Teg. That's Robert Jones. And that's Yeyan. All related. Cousins and uncles together. This is how we do our jobs up here.
Gareth works as part of a successful family business founded by his grandfather, Owen Jones. Tradition is important to the Joneses, and the right to graze on the mountain have been passed down through the generations and still form the basis of the business today.
Every farm has its own notch. So if these sheep stray to wherever, they have people that they call setchers, which is a policeman for the mountain. My father's the setcher for this area, for Llanfairfechan Pen Mawr. So if there's any disputes, it's over there you go to sort it out.
With their ears marked, the lambs are reunited with their mothers and sent back out into the fields.
I've done nothing else, I know nothing else, you know, and spending time with my father as a little boy up here, and Sean does the same with me now. There's heritage, there's 350 years my family can say that we've farmed this valley. Not many people can say that. You know, hefting is a job that we do every single day, but I believe that my father's hefted me as well. He's taught me, he's brought me up, and I hope that I can do that to my son as well and to my children. You're always looking ahead and trying to plan ahead, and I think that's what we do as farmers for the next generation. What can I make, or what can I do to make it easier for our children to farm?
Back at the farm, the heir to the family business is hard at work. Sean's first exams are only a few weeks away. Soon he will have to decide what to do next, to continue his work on the farm or to go in search of a different career.
You do feel a bit of pressure. It's always there. You know that there's a lot of heritage and a lot of history to what we do. 350 years be lost because I couldn't be bothered to go farming. The schoolwork is very draining, it's very boring. You're there by yourself for like an hour, 2 hours without seeing nobody, and you're just there writing and trying to learn quotes, and maybe if you're doing like physics and stuff, the key words that you have to learn and stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what the future holds for me. We'll have to, I don't know, see how it goes. Nice, peaceful life, maybe. Not too much stress. Not too much pressure. Not like this GCSE. It's terrible.
Stay down. Stop here, Bo. Stop here, Bo.
It's Saturday morning.
Drive on now. Come on.
Weekends on the farm are a chance for the children to learn more about the skills needed to rear sheep on the mountains, like how to work with their sheepdogs.
He's quite good, really. His father's taught him quite a bit, but he doesn't walk enough with it. That's my opinion. They're here now, you see.
Steady on, Bill, steady.
Come on,
Steady.
good lad.
Hey, stand.
Stop here, one. Yeah, he's good control on the dog, really. Gwyd yn y matad, gael, Sean. Dal I ddod o fo.
Steady.
Reit rownd i'r gwylod, wan, Sean.
Stand.
Stop him.
Stand.
Stop him.
Hey.
If you want to, the sheep go that way, you come by, and then whatever, you go away, and then stand, and then come on.
Stand.
Bring him on.
Steady.
Bring him on.
Stand.
We try to learn them English because the English people will pay for a good dog, not like the Welsh.
A good working dog can cost anything from several hundred to several £1,000. They are an essential part of farming on the hills, but training them can be a long and difficult process.
These sheep get my nerves. All they want to do is jump fences.
Shaw has been training Bill for a few months, but both shepherd and sheepdog still have a lot to learn.
Give us a little bit more oomph in him. He's a bit laid back, easy going. Not like me, I'm very wild, really. Yeah, I've cooled down a bit now. But he's coming all right. We don't have to worry too much about it.
Hey!
Sheepdogs are not only a useful tool, but trialling them is also a popular pastime. Soon, Shaw and Bill will be ready for competitions. But he is not the only one practicing his sheepdog skills.
Aline, stand. Down, 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 Aline. Aline, stand, Aline, stand. Come with me. With me. Sit. Aline, sit. Aline, sit, sit, sit. Stand. Aline, right.
There is always work to do on the farm. Things to fix, animals to feed, and dirty jobs to be done. It can sometimes be difficult for Gareth to get away from the farm and spend time with the kids. But today, he has arranged an outing to his brother's fishing lake.
We're in. Got one. I lost it. Oh. Bit of a change. We don't get a lot this time, so it's nice to come over and see my brother, and the kids are loving it. Just that we haven't caught anything. I've lost about 6 fish tonight. Can't believe it. You married, should go. Did you go, ma?
No. Chdi. Ar y deg.
Wait! She's got like, got one. She's got one. Okay. We got one. Dyma. Got fish, man. Diolch. Mae hwn yn gry, de. Wo, paid dit. Wan dan efo Sion.
While the rest of the family are out, Rhian has some visitors. She used to be the lead singer in a band and still is, when she can find the time.
Perfect. Perfect. This is a song I've written for the boys. Strange. That, you know, you think you've experienced a lot of emotions, sadness, happiness, love. But then the first time you actually hold that baby. I remember what with all 3 of them, the first moments when they're just born and the first time you get to hold them in your arms, how soft their breath is on your skin, and just that overwhelming emotion they feel. It just like bursts out your whole body. It's amazing. So I wrote that for them to remember. When they grow up, you know, and have kids themselves, maybe they'll realise what I was talking about.
little, there she.
Cool. Hey,
Hallelujah. Who caught it?
What a girl!
Gonna need a bigger fridge.
As spring turns to summer, the days are longer. The sun is out and the temperature is rising. It's time for one of the most important events in the farming calendar, shearing the sheep. But first, they need to be gathered. On hills and mountains all over Wales, people are coming together to collect their flocks. And here, on the Carneddau, thousands of sheep are collected over the course of a week. But with no fences on the mountain, rounding up every single one can be a mammoth task.
Heina di dod rownd y sadl richdi i ni, de? A fel nath nhw rownd a throbi newn yn ôl I Abar. Diolch yn das, beth i'n si damio.
Even at the height of summer, the weather can be unpredictable. And in sun, wind and rain, Gareth, his dogs, his family and his friends bring their sheep off the slopes and down to the lower pastures. It is 6 a.m. and Gareth is waiting patiently high in the mountains for the last of the summer gatherings to begin, just as his family has done for generations.
My grandfather and our forefathers would have to start in the middle of the night, about 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, and they'd walk up to here, so they'd get up here for first light. They must have been tough old people. They must have worked really, really hard. But there was no television, there was nothing else in their lives. All they lived was for these mountains and for the sheep, and, you know, there was no money. They were very, very poor people.
Every year, friends and neighbours come together for these gatherings. No money changes hands, but they all rely on each other to round up each other's sheep.
Mae'n sy'n loch na chi'n codi perthyn na.
With all the shepherds and sheepdogs present, the gathering can begin.
Yeah! Come! So what we're trying to do is keep a line here as much as we possibly can. Rob's on that ridge there. Heaven's above me here, Arwyn, Gareth and Dylan. So everybody knows their place and their spot. What we're trying to do is take the sheep, heft them this way, down.
As they work their way across the mountain, each shepherd keeps a close eye on their patch, using the dogs to round up any stragglers.
Dogs, stick, people. Okay, there's quads here now, but the majority of this was... Get back, Tess! Was done exactly the same way. And, you know, these are hefted rights. These are things that your fathers handed down to you from generation to generation. It's a happy time. Hard work, but, you know, it's a really happy time. Go, Tess! This is when the net closes in now. From the few come the many. This is exactly what we like to see. Rob's down there now, just holding them. The lads are pushing them down off the top. Because you never, ever can trust a sheep. They could all go back under in there and, you know, if you're not in the right position, in the right time, it's a disaster.
The only way to herd sheep on these mountains is to work together. But with fewer young people working in agriculture, these gatherings may one day become a thing of the past.
It is a dying job. There's not many people that want to come into this. And the truth is, it's long hours, for very little reward. Physically, mentally, emotionally it's tough, but truth is, if you're born and bred into it, you know nothing better. That's the way it is. That's the way of the mountains.
Shearing marks the high point of summer, and today there are around 600 to get through.
Last 4 years, the weather's been so changeable, and we want to get the silage done, the shearing done. So we used to do all the shearing, the gathering, the dipping, the dosing. But now, it's a lot easier to bring the contractors in. We get it all done in one day.
These lads are top boys. Don't come any better than this. They can go to New Zealand, Australia anyway. They don't beat these boys.
These boys get 90p per sheep for doing these. And fair play, it's a bloody hard job. It's worth every penny of it.
Wool is a global commodity, and around 75% of Welsh wool is sent abroad, much of it used in carpets. But the prices farmers get can fluctuate greatly.
Many years ago, this stuff would pay the farm rent on a lot of farms. The wool was a really, really big part of the income. And today, you're lucky to get enough for this, to pay these boys. But things have changed, you know.
As well as their money, tradition demands that the shearers get a square meal. And this falls to Gareth's mother and Auntie Falmai, who monitor their progress carefully.
The camera's here really for when they're carving. So Roll will get up in the middle of the night and have a look at the cows. So that's what it's normally used for. But shearing time is very useful for us. We switch it on and we have a look and see how far they've got with their batch of sheep. And then we'll know that they'll be ready for lunch in half an hour.
They'll have finished, won't they?
They will.
That's all they've got left.
Is it?
I think so, isn't it?
I don't know if they've got any in the shed.
The shearing is a time for the family to come together, and the kids are kept home from school to help out and pick up important skills.
You know, we keep the kids home. Sean's been home 2 days and Roland's been home 2 days. Only for the shearing day, because it is a big day, you know. Chdi, go on. Dal I roi mewn. Chdi, gwasgu reit in. Na, li.
Ia.
Chdi.
Dwi wedi gwneud dau yn
Gwranda na fi fedrw ddeitha chdi.
Iawn.
That's the last lot today. That's it. Very pleased with this now, aren't we? But look, the rain came and we're finished. Thank God for that. I'll wrap this now.
With all the sheep sheared, they are turned back out onto the mountain, where they will graze and fatten up throughout the summer months. And with this important job behind them, there are good times ahead for the farm.
Gareth Wyn Jones and the Hill Farm family are taking part in a live online chat in a moment. To join in, go to bbc.co.uk/Wales now.